Push start type of band's cool, but the tent plans. I'm back on my bender rolls for the kicks. They quick to give them 2 cents. Put my circle tight like we glued hands. Like I don't believe in new friends. Tread light, I know the ice thin. I drop the song, get a few wins. I crave the comfort in my own skin. Really, I just wanna feel the world spin. If I check, watch me double that. I get it lit, I watch it bubble.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? This your boy Frankie with We Are the Brand podcast, presented to you by Fabre Media. In the studio today, we have a special guest, Ay Quez. You know, music artist, songwriter. You know, a man of many coats.
Sure.
Man, thank you for coming today.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, bro.
No doubt. Well, you know, we'll dive into it. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. My man is out here in Chicago. You know, you definitely stood out here. You know, you're in Atlanta now, so
definitely.
I appreciate you catching that flight. You know,
man, I caught a flight just for you.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. So we definitely gonna make this one special, bro.
Let's do it.
The energy's been good from the jump, even since you got here. It was just been really, really good, man. So
appreciate it. Likewise.
Definitely, man, I appreciate that, man. So just, you know, feel free, kind of tell the people a little bit about, you know, who you are, and we can jump into it a little bit more.
Just like you said, a man of many coats. I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, on the South Side. I always rep the South Side of 815. That's where I'm from. That's what got me here today. You know, first off, I'm an athlete, you know, by nature. Played college football, hopped into the music game, and then now it's been a bunch of opportunities that have presented itself. I'm a CEO. I have my own nonprofit. I go and give out shoes to the youth in different schools.
Dope.
So that's one of the things I really take pride in and giving back to the community and looking out for the youth. You know what I mean? And then my brother, my best friend, Fred Van Vliet, who plays for the Toronto Raptors. I'm his marketing guy.
Oh, dope.
So I do a bunch of his personal marketing. And just being in the room with different people, and just I'm one of those guys that's always looking to learn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I always want to listen to, you know, people they say if you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So I'm always looking to get in those rooms where I can learn a lot of things, you know. But just like I said, going back to being from Rockford, Illinois, which is it's a tough city, you know, and the people that's from there can vouch for what I'm saying, you know. Tough upbringings, and if you make it through Rockford, just like it might be a cliche saying, but if you can make it from there, you can make it anywhere, and that's the God's honest truth.
Right.
You know, we ain't had too many big name people or celebrities or anything of that nature come out of Rockford. You know what I mean? So just to make it out and get a chance to give back and be in a position of giving back. And just doing as much traveling as I've done in the past few years, and just being able to experience so many life things that I never would have thought about doing. I always wanted to do, but just when I'm finally doing it, you know, and just doing it, just being from Rockford, doing all this type of stuff where people can look out there and be like, man, he from my city as well, you know. It's super dope, you know. I got 2 sisters, a brother. I got a real close knit friend group that I've been with ever since I was young. It's been the same now that I'm 27. I'm about to be 28 in January.
Congrats.
I got a son. I got my first son on the way.
Congrats to that.
Next month. I'm very excited for that.
That's what's up, man.
Man, life is exciting right now. I'm in a good space.
Yeah.
I'm in a creative space right now. I'm in a space where, like I said, I love to give back. I give somebody my last. I give the shirt off my back if I needed to, you know, because I know it's gonna come back regardless.
Right.
You know, and when I give, I don't give with the intent of receiving anything. You know what I mean? So I'm just in a good space right now.
Man, that's what's up, man. And literally everything you said, you hit so many key points in there, from just how your upbringing, right? Being in sports, you know, somebody who's in sports and who's an athlete, there's a certain level of discipline that is needed to be in there. You know, seeing particular things and wanting to be in rooms with people where you could learn from. That's a level of humbleness and being able to be willing to learn, right?
That's
you know,
correct.
just being able to see the future and be conscious of what's going on and being grateful. That's a spirit of gratitude, you know. So, man, we got so much to talk about even with that. So one of the things I definitely want to address, and we'll dive into some of the music as well,
For sure.
because I think all of it is a cohesive conversation. It all entwines to even why you probably do music in the first place, right? How important have you begun to realize having the right people around you is important? How important is having the right people around you?
I think That's so. It's so important to have the right people around you. It's almost more important than the journey you actually traveling. You know what I mean? And I say that because you may have this destination where you're going, right? And you want to get there, and you want to get there. But if you got the wrong people around you, you're never going to get there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just having the people around you that want that for you, and nobody that's veering off, or, you know what I mean, they got different other hidden agendas, or whatever the case may be. I think the people around you gonna push you to where you want to go further than people that's obviously not there, or there for another reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think the people around me, and I'm always use me as an example, but the people around me, man, it's like, if you're not here for, and I don't even want you to be around because on some opportunistic type stuff, but at the end of the day, you gotta want it as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? We traveling in the same direction. I don't need you to be pulling this way, or I don't need you to be pulling this way. We all need to be traveling in the same direction, you know, because at the end of the day, even if I would rather, if you going in a direction, if you make it before me, that's fine with me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think a lot of times, a lot of guys is secret competition within your group.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just having the right people around you, man, is a blessing. I think that's first and foremost what you have to do. And I've been listening to a lot of interviews, and just having that right team around you, man, could catapult you, bro, to, oh man, so many places. And just having that successful team around you, man, it's a big blessing.
Right. One of the things I tell people all the time is, I don't need everybody. I just need the right bodies.
That's a fact, bro.
You know, like, and one of the things that you said, I think is super profound. It's like, it's not about the journey, but who you go on with that journey. And that's key, right? One of the things that was told to me when I was younger was, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
That's a fact.
And it's so important. Sometimes we get caught up in a space where it's like, we hold on to people and hold on to things, knowing that where we're going, unfortunately, that person doesn't have the mindset or desire to have the same type of perspective on life.
No, seriously. And it's crazy you say that, because, and then it's like that survivor's guilt type thing. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like, man, you can only take a person so far that it ain't really doing what's necessary, or the necessity for both of y'all to succeed, or however many of it is of y'all to succeed. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you make it and then they don't, but they never put in the work, or whatever case may be, or they wasn't encouraging, because it don't even take much to just, you know what I mean, come on the journey with me, bro.
Right.
Just be encouraging, just keep me on the straight and narrow, you know what I mean? Try to block out as many distractions as possible, because it's going to be a bunch of hurdles along the way.
Right.
You know, it's nothing that's going to be a straight line. We're going to get there at this time, you know what I mean? It's going to be all type of things that's going to be thrown at us. It's going to be more things thrown at us if we on the straight and narrow path more than anything.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think that survivor's guilt thing is a real thing, because some guys really be like, man, you know, they might have got pulled the wrong way or something like that. But then us that's really on this path to success is like, bro, I got to cut you off, because I can't let you bring me down.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like you said, that having that real key circle of people around you, man, it's big time.
Yeah, no, and like you said, man, it's definitely vital. You know, check your friends, like check who you're around.
Facts.
Like they have a statistic, I believe it's like, you know, you're gonna be within a few $1,000s or a few percentages. Oh, we have Alexa. She was just letting me know the time to plan dinner. You know, she's keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Hey, you see?
She on the squad.
She on the squad for sure.
For life. But, you know, you look at your journey and you try to figure out, like, what people are around you. And I got to tell people, you know, you hang around 4 bums, you're going to be the 5th one, right? And even in the sense of a financial space, when you're around people who are seeking a certain status, right, eventually one of 2 things are going to happen. Either one, you're going to be able to create value in that space for that person, and in response, it's going to create the same type of effect on your life. For sure. Or 2, you're going to be a crutch, you're going to be a liability, you're going to be something that doesn't bring value, and eventually you would have to be cut off. That's a fact. Because you don't line up with the mission. And it's so important to find people in your life that line up with your values, right? And it's not only about money, but how you believe, what you believe, like loyalty, right? Like, what's loyalty really mean to you, you know, and keeping people around in that space. And don't get it twisted. You know, a lot of people will use that, like you said, like survivor's guilt, where it's like, oh man, you ain't loyal. Nah, listen, don't play me. This ain't about loyalty at this point. Loyalty is a friend who understands that there's a journey right before me, and the idea would be just like it is for me to you, to bring value to you. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stick around for a little while.
No, for sure.
You're my mans. You know what I mean? Like your family. All right, cool. I'm gonna play the game for a little bit, right? But there comes a point where I can only bring you to the pond to drink, but you got to drink it yourself.
No, legit. And if I'm loyal to you, I'm not even gonna let you crash out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna let you continue doing what you're doing without me even trying to, you know what I'm saying, step in the way or just be like, listen, bro, you got to get it together. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Me being loyal to you, I'm gonna make sure, like, listen, if this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna do. If you on this type of time, bro, well, this is another conversation we're gonna have. But I can't keep having you over here with me if you're gonna be on this type of time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real loyal. That's a real loyal person to be around you. If your partner brings to you like, man, listen, I'm on this type of time, I want you to understand that. You know what I'm saying? He very transparent with you. That's a loyal partner.
And that's a man to a man.
For
These
sure.
are conversations that men need to have with more men.
Definitely.
You know, and I feel like, you know, a lot of men don't have these conversations with other men and people because people are just prideful. They have too much ego. A real man, like if you told me that and I knew it to be true, a real man could be like, all right, bet. Like I'm not going to take offense to that.
Yeah,
you checked
definitely,
me. You checked me, but in a way that was through love. In a way that was through an understanding that you want the best outcome for the both of us and for myself. It had no animosity tied to it. It was just like no ill intent. It's just like, yo, listen, man. You might not like what I got to say, but I gotta tell you, bro.
I'm your brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm your brother, bro.
Exactly.
I never lead you astray. I never lead you out there to drown. You know what I'm saying? I'd be wrong if I didn't tell you.
Right. Nah, definitely. And having people around you that have those values are important because not only is it most important for you to be accountable to yourself, but having peers in your life that can keep you accountable is life changing. And it's like I look out, especially you know in the younger generation, and you know a lot of people and a lot of things that I see, their accountability isn't from peers. It's like their accountability is from what social media tells them, or their accountability in the terms of how they're supposed to analyze and live life is predicated on information or misinformation that's found on the internet. And it's like the sense of brotherhood has been like tainted. You know what I mean?
Social media has become like, and then obviously just depending on how you use it, man, but you can become so like focused on social media's expectations that you lose your sense of reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what social media is showing, and then next thing you know, you way off now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you trying to keep up with the Joneses, or you in this such a competition with people that don't even know you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like social media is really like becoming like, I don't know. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I think about that a lot because obviously we're in a technological era, you know what I mean? And social media is going crazy right now, but these kids and even just, adults and older people, you know what I'm saying? It got an effect on everybody,
right.
But like I said, it's just depending on how you use it. But social media can become like crazy.
Right. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
And however you use that tool is going to determine on what that house looks like that you're building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people use the tool to actually build communities, and some people use that tool to focus on building things that aren't going to create any type of value in life for themselves or those people around them. And like, that's the purpose of even like this podcast. It's like, what can we do to give back? Like, how can we impact people? What words can we say and share, and experiences we can provide so people can truly at least be connected in some degree while they're on social, where it's like, all right, cool. They seen this, boom, this pops up, and all right, bet it was their dose of truth for the day.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's something that hopefully over and over it can be instilled into them, to where that reality of what is real and what is fake can be discerned.
No,
and,
that's a fact.
Because it's like, I'm pro technology. I'm pro,
like what?
AI, all the above. I mean, some people might think that's crazy, but those are also tools. I'm not anti any of it, but for me, it also comes with not losing your humanity.
Definitely.
Still being conscious, still understanding what this moment is.
You gotta be, bro. You gotta be, and I think a lot of times, just like you said, like I'm pro for it all as well too, because you gotta move along with the times.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't be, you have to evolve just like everything else is evolving. You can't be stuck in your ways. You know, and I think, like from a standpoint of social media, Instagram, in general, like the spreading of the negativity. You know,
Right.
that it has a big like downfall. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, why not spread more positivity around? You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
just because you just asked the question, like, how can we say something, or how can we, like, more uplifting or more motivation and stuff
Right.
like that. It's such a like a catch-22 when they posting just negative stuff, and then people's minds ain't even really like developed enough to
Right.
like shed the BS from the good stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just like, it's crazy, man. So that's another reason when we're going back to the people around you. If the people around you can keep you grounded and keep you like, man, listen, you know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to fall off into what social media wants you to do. It's
Right.
easy to fall off into the negativity that we're surrounded by. You know what I'm saying? But if you got your brother or your sister around you, be like, listen, we ain't on that. Obviously, we looking at it. We, okay, bet. But listen, we on this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it all works hand in hand.
Right. We're aware. We know what's going on, but we've created boundaries.
Facts.
And these particular boundaries, certain things can't cross this line because it goes against the team value. And yeah, man, you know, obviously I didn't know we were going to be discussing so much towards like teams, but I know for a fact that that's where I'm at today. I'm where I'm at because I've recognized the value of people, and I've recognized the value of bringing value to people, and how important it is that the more people you build up, the more people you help, man, you'll never lose.
Bro, it's a great feeling, bro.
Right. You
It's a
never
great
lose.
feeling, man. You can help one person a day, and your day gonna be amazing, bro.
Right.
It could be a small gesture.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bro, I don't know. I've always been like that. I was just raised like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So whatever I can do to help, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what nobody think. None of that. Like, that don't matter to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And once I think people can get over that mental like thing of like what people think of them, bro, I'm telling you, you're gonna become a dangerous person, but in a good way.
Right. 100%. Being able to remove people's opinions and perspectives of how they describe you to be, and you just be true to what you know is true within yourself.
That's it.
And, you know, I was just thinking about that. I had a conversation with somebody, I think this morning, actually. You know, growing up, you know, I would consider myself a problem child, right? Dealt with the broken home statistics, you know, pops ain't always around, stats, you know, all the things that create an environment, you know, conducive for chaos. But one of the things that I recognized in that moment, and I know that's why the way I am today, when I love to uplift people and have conversations like this and bring value and build people up, is because I can remember blatantly, like vividly, what I was looked at, how I was looked at,
For sure.
what words were used to describe me, even at home, even at the crib, right? Like, oh, I'm this person, I'm trouble, I'm da 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 da, and I used to I started to think
Start falling into that.
right, that's who I was, and I was never fulfilled, I was never happy, and I never thought I could be or was adequate or was in a space where I don't look like success, or I don't look great, so I must be this.
Right.
And it wasn't until I moved from that environment, like literally to a whole nother state, that I began to see myself for who I really am, because I was no longer around the noise that spoke death to me.
Right.
I was around people who spoke hope to me. I was able to speak hope to myself because now I'm in a new space, a new location where nobody knows me for nothing.
They replenish your soul.
Right. And I just remember that transition in my life and how vital that was, bro, because that's why I am the way I am today, is because I was able to experience for a moment in my life when I turned 16. Like, it took that long. And for some, it takes longer. But I was able to recognize, hold up, I can be who I say I can be. And whatever anybody thinks about me, especially if it's speaking death on my name and trying to put me into a category or into a box of what this looks like, I don't have to accept that.
At all.
That's your opinions of me doesn't have to become the reality for me
No, for sure.
at all. And so it was in that space where I began to recognize what we're talking about today is how valuable and how important it is to keep people around you who speak life into you, who when they look at you, they see life in you. You know what I'm saying? When you're going off the rails or something's going crazy in your life, they check that, but in love and in empathy. Like, that's the type of friend I am. So to have people around me like that, which I do, thank God, and I know that's a byproduct of
Right.
how I put out. You know what I mean? I'm getting in life what I put out.
For sure.
And so, and that leads me to even like discuss, like, you know, your non-for-profit, right? Giving back in a special way, right? As children and as kids, especially like in lower income communities or just communities that, period. The shoe culture is a real thing.
It's dope as hell.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
a fact.
So like, when did you get into that? Like, what was your motivation? Why are you doing it?
So I went to HBCU. I went to Fayetteville State in North Carolina. That's where I had a scholarship to play football at.
Oh, dope.
So my last semester, right before graduating, I graduated with my BA in communications. It was just one of them things. I was like, I had tried out for a couple NFL teams, some CFL teams. Nothing really panned out. And then I was about to go home, like I said, in my last semester. And then I'm like, what can I do to give back? You know, I always wanted to do something, whether, like I said, it was a small gesture, you know, it was something that was big or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, shoes. I think shoes was the idea that came about, because like I always tell when I go to these schools and I talk to these youth, I was one of the ones that was fortunate enough to get nice clothes and nice things and, you know what I mean, nice shoes, and got a chance to share it with whoever else, you know what I mean? So that was one of the things my last semester. I'm like, man, I can go back and give out some shoes, and I'm gonna just pay for them out of pocket. You know what I mean? I ain't tripping on getting the money back, wherever the case may be. But this is something that I really want to do. You know, the name came like right thereafter. I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Touching souls, and it's SOLES, as in like the shoe sole. You know what I'm saying? I'm touching so many souls through giving shoes. You know, and then when I first came back, I went to West Middle School, where I attended at 06 through 08, 6th grade through 8th grade. And I proposed a plan to them, and they're like, man, when you want to come and talk to the kids, you know, we need you. You know, and then it went up from there. You know, I posted it on social media and stuff. And then I know some people were like, man, why do people post stuff that they do for, you know, they do nice things? It's just to motivate everybody else to do it. You know, that's my main reason on posting things. You know what I mean?
People just are trolling, man. They find reason. They have no problem when somebody posts something negative.
That's what I'm saying.
But as soon as you post something positive, why you gotta like...
You get 1 million shares for something negative. You get a few 100,000 shares for something positive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They say bad news travel fast. You feel me? And good news take a week.
Right. and it lasts a couple days.
You know how it go, man. But that was just the thing that I wanted to do coming back. And then I went down to Miami. I just was going all over the place, just buying shoes. You know what I mean? It was just one of them things that they took a liking to. Like, man, you mind coming back down and talking to these kids? And then the best thing about it was, I'm sure I was probably more excited in giving the shoes than the kids was receiving them.
Right.
You know, we didn't have nobody come and giving us shoes in school or nothing like that. You know what I mean? So just for somebody that's even another thing too is, I wanted to be like this tangible person that, you know what I mean? I'm from your city. I once was in this classroom. I got the same teacher. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm coming back because this is what I love to do. You know what I mean? I probably know y'all. I probably know your mom or wherever the case may be. But you ain't got to look on TV. You know, everybody, you know, you got little kids look up to LeBron James and these, you know, different idols and stuff like that they'll probably never, ever meet in their whole entire life. You know what I mean? It's almost impossible to get next to these people. But you got somebody like me, and that's really from your city, that you can bump into me in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's the dude that gave me some shoes. You know what I'm saying? I wanted that to become the norm. You know what I'm saying? Become tangible. You ain't got to look up. Not saying that it's bad for you to look up at LeBron James or any of those people, but look at somebody in your own city. You know what I mean? That's doing something positive that may, you know, make you want to go and do something positive, go give back in some type of way. When I was young, my mom and my dad, we always did like Rock for Rescue missions and feeding the homeless and coat giveaways at church. We always try to donate as much stuff as we had. You know what I'm saying? Even if we didn't have a lot, we try to donate what we had. You know what I'm saying? And it's just been a part of me.
Yeah. So giving and just the spirit of giving has been something that you grew up with.
That's what I grew up with.
Tell me a little bit about like your upbringing. Like what what were some things in your upbringing that you felt you live with today, and also what are some of the things in your upbringing that you recognize, all right, no, that wasn't right?
Well, when I was growing up, my parents were married. It was a blended family. My brothers on my dad's side, my sisters on my mom's side, but everybody treated each other like we came from the same family. They got divorced when I was young, when I was probably around like 6 years old or something like that, and I think that took a toll on everybody, that was involved. And then me and my mom, we stayed with my grandma, we stayed with my aunt. We just went from house to house with my sister. And then, like I said, it was fun to me. I didn't look at it as like, what I'm saying, we messed up and nothing like that. Dad has always been there every step of the way as well. Grew up in the church. We always went to church with my mom, my grandma. And then, like, going into middle school, that's when I went and stayed with my dad long term. 7th grade, my mom ended up getting remarried, and then she moved to Atlanta. And then it was just me and my dad, and then me and all my partners that I grew up with. And then he put me through high school. I went to Boylan Catholic High School. I went from the worst public middle school to a parochial school. You know what I mean? So I got the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? And then like I said, I'm from the South Side, which is, everybody would probably vouch and be like, that's one of the toughest sides of Rockford.
Right.
So just coming from this side and seeing everything that I grew up with to going to this Catholic high school where it's like it's a culture shock to many, but it wasn't to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? My mom and my dad they groomed me up to be this type of person. You know what I mean? So I give them a lot of credit. I wasn't like a one-dimensional person or anything like that. I could talk to the best of them. You know what I mean? I give the same respect to the janitor or the person who owned the building. You know what I mean? So that's just how I've always been. My grandma, my dad's side of the family from Mississippi, so they on the country level. I'm a city boy though. You know what I mean? So I like the fast moving. I like the fast living. We traveled a lot when I was younger. And then now I'm still traveling. So a lot of the things that I was doing that I was introduced to young, I'm still doing to this point. My dad, that's my best friend. You know what I mean? So like I said, I got a son on the way. So it ain't nothing that he didn't teach me that I can't, give to my son. You know what I mean? And then my granddad, rest in peace to him. He was another person that I always went over to his crib and just soaked up so much game. You know what I mean? And my granddad was a man in many coats as well too. So from the streets to whatever else, you know what I mean? It's just, I learned so much. And then, like they say, I'm like an old soul. I soak up a lot of knowledge from a lot of older people.
Right.
And I don't think it's like, I don't know if people doing that nowadays. You got older people still trying to party with the younger kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
You got some people, and I take my hat off to them, but I always just try to soak up as much game as possible. And then it's just a testament to who I am now.
Right. And I mean, it shows, man. Your energy definitely exudes that. One of the things that came to mind, especially, you gonna be a father here soon. What are some things you want to teach your child? If you had to give game, right? 3 top things. What would those 3 top things
Okay,
be?
so I'm glad you asked that, because one thing that always stuck with me is pay attention to your surroundings. I've always, that was like embedded in me when I was young. So everywhere I go, I'm always looking around. I'm always, what I'm saying, regardless of where I'm at, pay attention, man. I don't walk around with my head in my phone, none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm always like the ambiance, everything. I got to pay attention, man. You got to pay attention. That's the first thing I'm going to tell them. Pay attention to your surroundings. And then respect. You know what I'm saying? Respect your people. Like, if you want respect, you got to respect everybody else.
Right.
Anything else outside of that, we'll worry about that later.
Right.
You get disrespected, then we'll worry about, that later. But respect everybody, man. Don't. Right. It should be no reason why you should disrespect anybody. You know what I'm saying? Unless you disrespect it. You know what I mean? That's for sure, for sure. And then another thing, too, is giving back. Give back, bro, whenever you can. And then, like, that'll be probably when you get a little older, but it can still be, as an adolescent or whatever the case may be. But like I said, pay attention to your surroundings, respect everybody, man. And then, like I said, give back for sure, and enjoy life. Just like enjoy life. We like we were just saying about social media. You got all these expectations and things like that, man. Just enjoy your life, man. Enjoy your life.
Right. Just being grateful.
Being grateful for sure. Be humble, Pop your shit every chance you get, but at the same time, be humble, be grateful at the same time.
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of us miss is taking a step back and just really looking what's around you and checking the temperature in the room and just being grateful for what you got.
Energy is everything, bro.
Right.
You can feel the energy in every room you walk into. You know what I mean? You can feel the energy off a person you just met.
Right.
You can tell that they got ill intentions. Once you do it repetitiously, you become a master at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can tell somebody really with you, somebody against you. You can just tell. You know, the like what they say, the shortness of the conversation, or the handshake, man. Just
Right.
like the cold shoulder, man.
Right.
Oh man, I'm telling you, bro. I've been around so many people, and I become, I like to say, a master at it, because I can just tell if somebody's interested in what you selling, if someone's interested in your story, you know, you can just tell, man.
Right.
It just comes with paying attention to your surroundings and really just scanning the room.
Yeah, discernment.
No, for sure.
Right.
For sure,
like,
for sure.
And I tell this to people too, and that's why you said it. I was just like, I resonated with it. Those are certain things I tell people too. It's like, okay, listen to their vernacular, listen to their tonality, listen to how short they are with something.
Yep.
Listen to how much floor time they give you. Right? Listen to what they respond with after you just said something great, maybe about yourself. Right? Like, what did they
For
say
sure.
afterwards? Like, just subtle things, right? Where you're like, all right, okay. Like,
And
for
then
me,
you just
like,
make that little mental note,
Right.
and then you just, you know what I'm saying?
right, like, and you know where to position people. And
Definitely.
when you learn how to position certain people in your life, and that comes back to having the right people around you, because, all right, you got your core group, and then you got the other people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, your acquaintances, people who, when you get together, it's love, it's cool.
Right. You don't
But-
talk to them every day or
Right,
anything like that,
right.
but yeah.
It's always love. And then you got those who,
Yeah,
you know,
right. You tolerate.
right, you tolerate, exactly. And obviously I try to avoid those interactions as much as possible, because, you know, time is the number one commodity. And for me to give time to something that's not going to bring value or create any type of life
Useless.
is just useless. Exactly.
sure.
It's like, why am I even doing what I'm doing? Is it going to create something good for you, for me, for us, for this world? Like, what are we doing? Right? Because I can get money back, but I sure can't get this time
So
back.
can get this time back.
So if I'm gonna give you my time, it's got to be of the utmost importance. You know what I mean?
for sure, for sure. And then like we were just talking about, and then when you talk to somebody, you know, you get that they really interested. They look in you in your eyes when you talk, or you know what I
Right,
mean? It's
right.
just like, man, oh, okay, we gonna have a real good conversation. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But that's a fact though, bro. That's definitely I took heed to that when I was young, when I was a young man.
Same, bro. Like and man, that helps tremendously. And that, obviously you were raised good, and that's so important, because I mean, even those things come with just living in certain places. You know, like growing up, first and foremost, all right, I'm aware of my surroundings.
No, for sure.
Right? Like even if I'm driving, I'm not trying to be up on a car. I need space to swerve. Just
Need
just like simple things.
Different situations
you know what I mean?
that
Like
cause that, bro.
right, like I'm thinking 5 steps ahead.
Definitely.
And it's not that I'm like thinking negative. I'm just prepared.
Prepared.
You know what I mean? Thank God everything's smooth now. But in the event that something happens, I need to be ready to take action. You know what I mean?
That's
And-
life's PTSD, bro.
Right.
I'm telling you, whether you like been through something real drastic, or you know what I'm saying, real tragic, but every situation, man, you gotta learn. It's a learning. You can learn from every situation that you've been through in your life.
Right. And it creates and develops how we think and how we perceive things. And not saying it's always right.
Right.
You know, sometimes we perceive things incorrectly.
For sure.
Right. As human beings, we have a tendency to assume a lot.
I'm glad you said that, because another thing that I would teach my son is to be apologetic when you know you're in the wrong. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If we got this, what they say, that man, that chakra, you know what I'm saying? That big, that masculine energy where we like, it's too much pride. But at
Right.
the same time, man, if you wrong, you wrong, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Be apologetic, you know what I'm saying, and move on. Be apologetic and move on from it. You know,
Right.
don't let it linger on. Don't let it become a bigger, issue. But if you're wrong, you're wrong.
And that's another thing in terms of just like, man, being able to express how you feel.
Definitely.
Because, I'm sure man, like growing up, especially when, in our communities, like when you express how you feel, it's just you're soft, like
Right.
you're real sensitive, like
Definitely.
and obviously some things don't need to be said that are understood. When it's understood, it don't need to be said.
That's a
certain
fact.
conversations, you have with certain people, it's like, all right, man, now you're just bringing up everything. Like,
Yeah.
you really need to just check yourself. Some things don't need to be said, but I feel like it's so ingrained in our culture to the point where men don't speak on how they feel.
No, man.
Like they bottle it up, and all that trauma and all those things that are within themselves just lay there, and it just builds up and builds up.
And when it finally like come out, bro, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster, and then they make life altering decisions.
Every relationship is just messed up. You know, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your girlfriend, or whoever the case may be. You know, your friends is messed up because of you done held everything in. Everybody your whole life done told you, man, you soft, man. You ain't supposed to be saying that. You ain't supposed to be like that. And like you done held this all the way up until the point where you can't even have a stable situation.
Right. You can't have no stable relationship. All their situations are always like on and off. And I appreciate you even for having this conversation, because men don't do that.
No, not at all.
Because it's not a normality. It's like masculine, testosterone,
no, for sure,
manly, like all that soft stuff, save it for your girl, like. But men need to be able to have these conversations a lot more, where I could speak to another man, another individual who's like me and me like them, and just be able to be open and say, you know what, this is how I feel about this. Like, this got me looking like this, or this made me now consider this, or like certain things, and being able to even have that person be receptive and then
legit.
Give back, not just be like,
legit.
Like, man, like,
and once you start to do that, you become secure. Like, I'm very secure with myself. You know what I mean? I'm very secure. I don't know how else to be. I'm very transparent. I'm very open. You know what I'm saying? I'm very charismatic. So it's just like, this is who I am.
Right. And what you just said is key. And I want to point that out. You're secure in who you are, right? And that's a byproduct of being able to express
for sure
how you feel. People think it's the other way around.
Right.
It's crazy, right? It's like, I can't express how I feel because it looks like I'm not secure.
Right.
No, I'm so secure in myself that I need to tell you how I feel.
I need to
express myself, because truly I respect you. Truly, I want the best outcome. Now, there's a timing for everything. The timing may not be now. That's wisdom. But it doesn't mean to not speak what's on your mind and on your heart, because the moment you do, this is the result, is you begin to understand yourself more.
Facts.
And when you're able to express yourself to somebody who's receptive, you begin to figure out the answers. Sometimes they don't even need to talk. You just be like, wow, like that's and
it's a feeling that just come over you,
right?
Bro.
You all the answers, because the answers are always in you anyways.
Facts.
The fact that I'm being able to express it is what humans are made for. I can bounce this off you, right? You're a mirror.
Yep.
Definitely. So as I'm speaking, I am seeing my reflection. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact, bro.
And I'm able to better understand me.
Yeah.
And I really hope that things like this change, and more men can have conversations like this, because when this begins to become a normality, because men's suicide is high.
Very, very high.
And it's very high, especially during the pandemic and things like this, because obviously a man is somebody who is supposed to provide. A man is supposed to bring security. So here we are going through a particular situation that puts us in a hole where we can't do all those things. Men there's a crisis, and it's because of not being able to do this. Not being able to have conversations like this. How many times can you go on YouTube and find men talking to men about the fact that men should be able to talk to men about how they feel?
Man, it's slim to none.
It's slim to none. Or like, if you look at, like, I had a show. We had a therapist, and she was like, I wish that there was more men groups being able to talk about certain things, because you see all the women talking about mental health.
No, for sure.
There's tons of women group talking about mental health, but never about us men.
Right. And I think they trying to get to it, like the I Am Athlete. I watch that a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I like that. I like that for sure. And then just the platform that you doing right now, bro, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Because you letting men like get things off their chest. You know what I'm saying? Come in here and be transparent, man. Talk. I'm not gonna judge you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's another issue that men have. We already assume that the person we talking to is judging us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we kind of fall back, or we, you know what I'm saying, we sit in the back seat, or whatever the case may be. But me, man, I'm bold, bro. I'm bold.
Yeah. And it's people like you that will, no matter what happens, win. And it may not even be immediate. But no matter what,
No
you're
matter
gonna
what,
win because
gonna win.
there's no other
100
option.
summers, man.
You know what I'm saying? There's no other option.
sure.
You know, so man, I appreciate that, bro. Like it's definitely even for myself. Like I feel like edified. You know, being able to discuss that because, you know, out of all the podcasts we've done, I was even having a conversation with my team. I'm like, man, we need to have more conversations like this where
sure.
we can open up the platform. And obviously we have, you know, women on here, men on here, everybody, but being able to, me being a man, like setting up the narrative of a degular, you know what I'm saying,
real.
person having that conversation and openly loving and expressing that, you know?
That's a fact. And I think that it could be guys that didn't have a father growing up or guys with a father growing up. And I think me being who I am, obviously my dad was in my life since I've been a shorty. You know what I'm saying? So that was a plus. But even the guys that don't have a dad, this is a platform for those guys to really get things off their chest. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, man, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate this. You know what I'm saying? Because we never know what nobody going through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And our problems ain't bigger than their problems, or their problems ain't bigger than our problems. You know what I mean? So just for like this platform and different platforms that's letting these men, you know what I'm saying, express themselves, bro, it's gold, bro. This is gold.
Yeah, and it's important, and I challenge people out there, man, like, especially, you know, if you're a man, like, have that conversation at some point, you know, especially if you're building a platform or have a particular platform, allow your voice to be heard. Let's let us men know, like, all right, look, nobody's saying you got to be, like, super, like,
You ain't got to be out your body.
Right. You know your limits. You know how you feel, but then that also means you know exactly what you're not doing.
Man, when you go home and look in the mirror, that's the real you.
Right.
That's the real you.
Right.
Why you can't be like that?
Right. Hey, exactly what you said. When you look in the mirror, is that what people also see?
Right.
You know what I mean? And don't get it twisted. Like, you might still be figuring that out.
For sure.
You know, and at certain ages and certain times in life, you end up figuring out things a lot more, especially as you experience life and go through particular hardships. It begins to define who you really are, right? Because that's when true character is seen. Not in the easy moments. True character is seen in moments where you're challenged, where it's tough, where pressure is applied, right? Like they say, pressure makes diamonds, and those diamonds can cut through anything.
No, for real.
And if you want to be of that cloth, you got to be cut from that cloth. You can't just assume that this is going to work on this and that's going to work on that when that's not the proper cloth that's going to be able to create that, you know?
That's
certain things hold certain strengths. And in order to get to that place, being transparent and being open and being willing and being vulnerable, that's the word, vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like weakness to a lot of us, man, where it's like, I can't be vulnerable, especially with my girl. Like,
that's a fact, bro. and I'm up here speaking like this, but it took a little while for me to even get to this point. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up with all my male cousins, and it was just like, it was one of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't be soft, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like they started to open their eyes. I started to open my eyes. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? At some point, we got to change the direction of the ones coming up after us. You know what I'm saying? We can't just have a bunch of just real, I'm an alpha male, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm very understanding. I can have a conversation. I can be soft with a woman, or, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Of that nature, you know what I mean? I can be respectful, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was one of the things that we really had to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And growing up, I had a crazy temper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then at some point, you just like, man, I got to understand this temper can land me 100 years in prison or underground. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you really got to understand, like, man, what life is really about.
Right. Like they said, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
No, that's a fact.
Right. 100%. And you know, I can relate to that as well. You know, growing up, I had a temper. And the man I am today is when I look back, I'm like, damn. That's crazy, you know, like,
no, for real.
Like I was an angry guy, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't trying to hear nothing, and don't talk slick to me, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, don't even look at me. Like,
no, legit though.
Because I'm thinking you looking at me for some issues and some problems. Like, it's just crazy to think like that, because that's so far from who I am today, and I'm grateful for that, because when you begin to recognize the beauty of life, right? And like I said, take that step back and just be grateful, right? And when I look at it, what I was insecure.
Yeah.
I was I was angry because Pops wasn't around like that. I was angry because this label that they put on me, that I began to make my reality. I accepted and I came into agreement with it. It's like, now that I'm aware and I'm conscious, right, of life, I could look back and recognize that. And that's why for me, every opportunity I ever get to be able to speak to somebody who was in my shoes and was called out of their name the way that I will take that time and that energy and put it there, knowing and to let them know what they're capable of.
No,
because
for
we
sure.
get so caught up in this space where we feel like what's the word? Like we're stuck in a particular space and we can't see anything outside that moment. Like that's why I was happy when I found a different perspective when I left Chicago. I found a different perspective when I went into a different state.
Definitely.
I seen things that are different. I seen different cultures. I seen different people. I seen different people handle certain things that if it was me, I would have checked that in a different way. But the result is what I really wanted.
No, for
and the
sure.
outcome is what was the best outcome. And then I would just like really be observant. I'm like, wow, this is...
And you had to leave in order to, you know what I'm saying, in order to get that chance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just think, bro, it's some people that have never left their block, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That they don't even want to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? At some point you become open to change. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just like, man, it's crazy though how some people's upbringing is, or just the things that they think. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I mean, I don't blame them for it, because
Right.
sometimes it isn't of their control. You know what I'm saying? It's just how they was raised or how this and that. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, I think, in my opinion, I'm like, man, you gotta want better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's ultimately comes down to you. Do you
Right.
want better or not? You know what I mean?
Right. And it's gonna take people like you. It's gonna take people like me to be able to facilitate those conversations.
Definitely.
And like what you do, like go into those spaces, really talk with people. Like, for many years I used to go into inner city communities all over and actually have these conversations with people in the worst projects,
For sure.
and low income communities, and like really put hope out there, teach life skills and just give back. Like that's like something I've always loved to do and I've done. I even done that in Rockford once before. It's crazy. That's a different story. But we as grown men need to start to facilitate that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because what you said is very true. Bro, some people have not been able to leave their environment, and that's all they know. And we're a byproduct of our environment.
That's a fact.
What we hear all the time, constantly, what we know and what's being injected into us is what we're going to project and what's going to come out of us. You know what I'm saying? If I squeeze an orange, I'm not going to get apple juice.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? I'm going to get exactly what was put into it. It's
For
just
sure.
an orange. So if all the things that I'm putting inside of me are toxic, hatred, you know what I'm saying? Animosity, death. Guess what's going to happen when I'm getting pressured?
You're going to become just that.
Right. That's exactly what's going to happen.
That's what you're going to revert to.
Because that's all I know. And so, yeah, man, for anybody out there, man, I hope that this conversation can at least enlighten them, can open their eyes,
definitely.
and give them some perspective outside of their current surrounding. Because that's the beautiful thing about a platform, podcasts and YouTube and stuff like that, is now we get to infiltrate hundreds and thousands
Right.
and millions of homes from right here in Chicago.
Definitely.
So yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate the conversation so far. I can't wait to put this one together and put it
Man,
out
I
there.
can't wait either.
So I want to dive in a little bit to some core, and I've asked you like what you would want to teach your child, right? What are some core principles or pillars that you build on for yourself right now?
One thing that I'm very loyal. Loyalty is a must. I'm loyal, almost basically loyal to a fault. You know what I mean? I'm with you, right, wrong, or indifferent. You know what I mean? And at some point, obviously I'll let you know accountability. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Being held accountable. I want to be held accountable just like I held everybody around me accountable for their actions as well too, because what you do not only hurts you, but it hurts everybody around you.
Right.
So being loyal, being accountable. Another big one that I think a lot of people may downplay is just the whole respect thing. You know what I mean? It's a lot of times where people feel as though they're disrespected, but if you think about it, it's like, were you respectful? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Did you really go to go to this situation with a respectful mind? You know what I'm saying? Did you go to this with an open mind?
Right.
You know, so I would definitely have to say loyalty, being accountable, respect, and then being open.
Yeah.
I'm very open to change. I'm very open to trying new things. You know, so those are some of the ones that's popping right off my mind right now when you ask me that. But I think being open is a big one though, because when you open, people can bring certain things to you, and obviously bullshit from bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, man, I don't mind trying that. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't mind going to see this. You know, if I just love to play games all day, and somebody like, man, you want to travel? Let's go to Utah. You like, man, I ain't going there. But then you go there, and then you like, you got a newfound respect for nature. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those guys where it's just like, I've always loved to travel. I always loved to just be outdoors. I ain't had a PlayStation game since PlayStation 2, bro. I was like in 6th grade.
Yeah.
I never played a game. My partners will tell you, they like, this dude don't never play the video game. I'm weak as hell when it comes to video games. But anything else, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm with it because I'm open to trying like new things. Not saying that gamers not open to trying new things.
Right.
But what I'm saying is like, for me, it's just like, I'm very, very open-minded. Right.
And I think that's super important, being open-minded. And I kind of want to get into, so those particular things, respect, loyalty, being open-minded. When it comes to being open-minded, what are some new things that you're experiencing even in your life right now within the last 120 days or the last 365 days? What are some things that you're experiencing that you never knew you would experience?
Man, I'm the head of my household right now. I got a girlfriend that's pregnant. We got a dog, and just like bills and just being the head of the house. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was me and my dad for the longest. You know what I'm saying? And he took care of everything. You know. And then when I went to college, obviously on scholarship, that was already taken care of. But now it's to the point where it's like everything comes with strategy. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. Is just strategizing how your life is. You know what I mean? Budgeting. You know what I mean? And things like that. You know, a lot of times you might spend frivolously or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But it's just like now. It's certain things that's happening in my life where I'm really taking the time. I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about stuff before I do it. You know what I'm saying? I was used to just act on impulse or like, all right, but I'll worry about it later. But now it's like very strategized and things. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm taking into account right now. And then I'm always traveling, so I'm always looking at different things. I'm picking up books and stuff. I never used to like to read, bro. I never used to like to read, but now it's like I find peace in reading. You know what I mean? And learning and stuff like that. I'm on like a self-efficacy journey right now. You know what I'm saying? I really want to be like the best me. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the best me for me and the best me for my family and everybody that's around me. I feel like if I'm at the top of my game, everybody else lit.
Right.
Nah, for sure.
Hey, that's key, bro. It's like you said, being the best version of yourself. And so many times we want to be the best version of somebody else. Definitely. That we lose out on who we were made to be.
No, for sure. I see that on social media, and it's just like everybody, you got like this, I don't know, you just got like this social media image that you're supposed to be like. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to go furthest away from that as possible. You know what I'm saying? Right. I want everybody to you got a couple options. You got this or you got this. You know what I'm saying? I want to be where I'm over to the side of myself somewhere. Right. You know what I'm saying? I acknowledge what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't downplay or nothing like that. But at the same time, I'm doing me.
Right. And that's how it should be done. So when it comes to like, you know, you spoke on traveling a lot. Clearly that's something that you love doing. What are some spots or some top places that you've gone to where you're like, damn, like I'm glad I came here?
Man, we just went to Aspen, Colorado, bro. That was super, super dope. We up in the mountain. We climbed a mountain, bro. I climbed a mountain. You would have never seen me. All I seen is mountains in the history book in school. But to climb one, I'm talking about, it got to a point where you had to talk to yourself and be like, bro, like, you got to make it up this mountain or you going to die up here. Like, you know what I'm saying? It got to that point. Your fingers start tingling and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that was super, super dope. They were saying it's like bears out there. Obviously, we ain't never came face to face with no bear, but just the possibility of it. You know what I mean? So Colorado was a dope place. I always love the vibe in LA. It's like a real calm vibe. You just chilling. Like even when you drive, and it's like no rush. You ain't rushing to get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? In LA, I love LA. And then now that I'm getting older and more mature, I like down south. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's a slower pace than the city living, but I like down south just for a short period of time though.
Right.
But I like going down south and visiting family and stuff like that, because down south I feel as though it's you gotta have a real survival skill mindset down south. You know what I mean? You got your different clubs and your different like places to go and chill or whatever case may be, but I think the resources down south is not as plentiful as it is obviously in the city. You know what I'm saying? But going down south, like I said, it's kind of peaceful now that I'm getting older and stuff like that. So I go down to Mississippi. I went down a couple times. I've been almost everywhere, bro. But it's Toronto. I love Toronto. Toronto is a fast moving city.
Yeah, talk about Toronto.
Toronto is super, super dope. The fan base there is crazy. Just the people in general is super dope down there. Like I said, I'm a city boy at heart, so all the fast moving, walking downtown and stuff like that, just being outside, just hearing car horns and that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm infatuated with that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I love fast cars and, you know what I mean? And just the whole city life in general. You know, I stand downtown, penthouse living, or wherever the case may be, like that's me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I had to describe me, that's me. You know, so I love Toronto. Some places that I have yet to visit that I want to go to is I want to go to South Africa. That's for sure.
Like what, Cape Town?
Cape Town or like Johannesburg or something like
Johannesburg.
that. Yeah, for sure. I got to see that before I leave this earth. Dubai, I was actually invited to Dubai. A guy I know goes over there once a year, so hopefully we can make that happen. And then I went to China.
How was that?
China was that was a culture shock.
What part of China?
We went to Beijing and then we went to Shanghai. So we was actually on the Great Wall. Like I said, a lot of this stuff, bro, is just like shit I seen in the history book. You know what I'm saying? I never placed myself there. You know what I'm saying? But then when it happened, it's like, oh shit, like this is dope. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We took a nonstop flight from O'Hare to China. It was 13 hours. I slept 11.
Good for you.
Man, good for me. I'm not I want to wake up and be there. You know what I'm saying? So but going there was super, super crazy because it's obviously so many people in China and they just stacked on top of each other. Then we took the speed train to Shanghai from Beijing. Super dope as well.
How fast that? What was like the time span on that?
Don't quote me on that. I don't even know how fast it was, but I went to sleep though.
Oh, okay.
Every transportation, if I'm not driving or I'm not controlling the wheel, I'm asleep. So
Makes sense.
Did that. Where else did we go? I'm probably drawing a blank, but I've been so many places. But I for sure like Aspen, China. LA, even New York. New York is pretty dope.
Yeah,
I don't know how
I like New York.
Yeah, I don't know how people raise families there for some odd reason, but because it just feels like it's just about business.
You know, New York for me, in my experience, is definitely fast paced. Right, there's a lot of people, and it's like you got a lot of entertainment there, but it's definitely work.
Yeah.
But it's just so congested. Like when I first went there, I didn't recognize they don't got alleys.
Yeah, that is true.
I didn't know they didn't have alleys, and I found that out because when I went to the city, it just smelled.
Oh, the trash in front.
I'm like, yo, it smells out here. G,
crazy.
what are we doing?
It's crazy.
And my guy from New York, he was like, oh yeah, it's trash day. Like all the trash is outside, like out front. I'm like, that's wild because in Chicago, we could throw that joint out back. Like we got alleys.
No,
He's
sure.
like, yo, we don't got alleys. I'm like, oh, like it's making sense. It's like in New York, they found a crevice. They're like, all right, put a building there. They found another crevice. They're like, all right, let's put a building there.
People there, they like, man, we finna squeeze y'all in.
Right. Squeeze the people in. But what's real cool though about that, man, and I'm glad you were able to, just talk about these different places and things that you've been to. And I think one of the spots that I want to highlight is China. Like, what was that experience in China? How were the people?
The people in China is crazy because I don't know if they don't have a sense of space, But going over there, it's like they all in your bubble. They
Yeah.
all in your space. You know what I mean? And obviously they were wearing masks way before the pandemic and stuff like that. But
Right.
it's just like they bumping into you. It's like, you know what I'm saying? They lightweight rude. You know what I'm saying? But
He said they're lightweight
yeah,
rude.
they lightweight rude. No lie, I'm not even gonna cap to you. Like they lightweight rude. But I didn't take no offense to it because I was like, I have to understand I'm over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna take too much disrespect and nothing like that, but it's like they own you, you know what I'm saying? But it's so many people there.
Right.
I can understand it. You know what I'm saying? If I had to live over there, I could understand it. You know what I'm saying? You trying to get to where you going. I think the drivers, you can drive only certain days of the week by your license plate or something like that.
I
You know
didn't
what I'm
know
saying?
that.
Unless you got a moped or something like that, then you can, go where you're going. But as far as driving, you can only drive like Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. I don't know the whole,
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, it's crazy though, bro.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like, and then the buildings there's like, who built these buildings, bro? Like they huge, man.
Right.
The buildings are, I don't know who building like a transformer or something like built these buildings, man.
Hey, the Chinese are known for building infrastructure and like
Dead
fast,
ass, bro.
Fast too.
The food was not that great to
No.
me. No. We ate Pizza Hut. And like
They had Pizza Hut
they
out
had
there?
Pizza Hut, and that was probably the best thing that we ate. That I ate. I can't speak for everybody else, but that I ate was Pizza Hut and KFC. They had some pretty good KFC. But like it's crazy because like the Americanized like Chinese food is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But over there, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that great.
I imagine it's because of you grew up on this particular type
Exactly.
of Chinese food.
Exactly.
So probably to them, our food is trash.
Probably. Like as far as like chips, like our regular Lay's, they had like spicy crayfish flavored Lay's chips.
Spicy what?
Spicy crayfish.
Oh, that's different.
Flavored Lay's, and they had like wasabi flavored Lay's chips and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
It's definitely a different.
It was a culture shock, but
Right.
it was super dope to experience though.
Yeah. Nah,
That's a fact.
that's super dope, man. So let's dive in a little bit into some music, man. What's going on with that?
Music. I started music May 2018. Here we are in December 2021. I actually was supposed to. My project was supposed to drop today, November 8th, but it was I had an issue with my distribution, so in the next couple of days it should be out. But definitely better. It's called Better Late Than Never, and I've been working on it.
Ironically, that's the
Ironically,
name.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Better late than never. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come. Better late than never.
Right.
Fact. So I've been working on this project since April. It's one of those projects that define who I am. You know what I mean? Like in the lyrics, I'm talking about me being from the South Side and staying with my grandma. Me and my dad would stand on the couch in my grandma's basement. You know what I mean? And then now we to this point. So this project is a real body of work that I've been working on like day in and day out in the studio every day. So I can't wait for for it to become public so people can listen to it. And then besides that, man, I'm a student of the game. Like I said, I'm an athlete, so I took the same mindset from sports to music because music is a competition in itself. You know what I mean? So I'm competing with the other artists. I'm competing with everybody. I'm competing with myself. You know what I mean? And it's to the point now where it's like I'm not even looking at what the other artists are doing because I'm trying to perfect what I'm doing.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So I'm not focused on what they doing, but at the end of the day, it's still a sport. So I'm watching different interviews. I'm watching different videos on how can I better my videos, my visuals. How can I bring the image? How can I really portray what I'm trying to say in a video? You know what I mean? Obviously, when you listen to music, it's super dope. But then when you see a video with the music, it enhances it 100 times more.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm a student of the game. What I'm doing now, putting out samples, and then another thing with music is just being in the right circle. Meeting the right people. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I'm doing now. Like I said, I just currently moved to Atlanta around May, and I've just been like networking. Networking is key in the music, so we here now.
Right. Now that's dope, man. And I know you one of the things you do is you tie it to sports, right? This is a sport, right? As an athlete, how important is discipline and perseverance when it comes to what we want to do with our life?
It's very important, man. It's so much you gotta sacrifice that I don't think a lot of people really understand. Like, in order to get to where you really want to go, you got to sacrifice so much. You got to sacrifice relationships. You got to sacrifice time. You got to sacrifice sleep. Like, I had this conversation with my brother who's older than me, and I tell him, like, bro, like, in order for us to really reach what we want to reach, bro, we gonna lose sleep, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's nights I'm up 3, 4 in the morning just jotting down stuff. I love to write because I love to see what I'm. You know what I'm saying? I love to just jot down different goals and different stuff. You know what I mean? I'm up watching all types of podcasts, and I love to watch Rick Ross interviews about entrepreneurship and ownership and stuff like that. You know, so I'm always up, but just the dedication that you have to like hone into what you doing. You know what I'm saying? I always bring it back to sports because in order to become the greatest at your craft and the greatest at your game, you got to practice every day.
Right.
You know, until it becomes redundant. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
nobody likes redundancies and nobody likes to do the same thing over and over again, but that's what makes you great.
Right.
You know, that you can't skip that part of the process.
Right. It's that
you know,
routine.
It's that routine. And like it's some guys that's just naturally just gifted. You know what I
Right.
mean? But at the same time, sometimes those guys get the shit end of the stick because it's like that's all that they feel like they need to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's when they say like I take a hard worker over a talented guy any
Right.
day because he understands like I got this. I'm dedicated to this.
Right.
I'm working on my craft every day. You know what I'm saying? So just being dedicated in the music and just, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy that I'm saying this because in the music today, it's almost like you can put out whatever and that shit going. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's almost like right now it's kind of a downslope on the guys that's really rapping. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like this swag rap shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm not hating on no shit like that at all. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody who doing it to make $1 million+ and take care of their family from it.
Right.
But it's like to appreciate real music, it ain't really hot right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's not the trend right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anybody that got a voice or anybody that's talking about something, you know what I'm saying, they can make it right now. You know what I'm saying? But that shouldn't deter anybody that if you love what you're doing, that shouldn't deter you.
Right.
Keep going regardless. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's another thing too. Like when you got a passion for something, you're going to keep going regardless of what everybody else doing. You're going to stay the course. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is right now as far as the music. You like, man, everybody going to this rap or they sounding like this. But if you love to do what you do, you got to keep going.
Right. And that's key. I mean, those are all gems, bro. It's like no matter what, no matter how, no matter when, no matter who, if you have a passion for something and you truly know this is a desire that you really want, there ain't no plan B if you plan to succeed.
That's
and
a
that
fact.
plan that you want, that means you are willing to push it and put in all the work that is needed until you see it come into fruition. And then also, right, is I think one thing some people don't consider is that how you think it's going to happen doesn't always happen like that. I would say 10 out of 10, but maybe there's that 1 out of 10 that it happens
Right.
how they want it to happen.
Facts,
so I would
bro.
say 9 out of 10 times, be willing to adapt, be willing to pivot, be willing to adjust. Because it's people, they think that it has to happen a particular way, and they go into a certain route and it doesn't, and they fold.
And that's why I preach that I'm open. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My mind is made up. My mind is set, but I'm open to so much differences because you gotta adapt.
Right.
You gotta adapt. Everything ain't gonna work out how you planned it to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you hit it right on the head when you just said that, bro. Like you gotta be open to adapting and evolving with all type of things because there's
Right.
so many opportunities that's falling into my lap that don't got nothing to do with making music. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's an opportunity that came to me about having a label. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you want to be Lil Wayne or you want to be Birdman. How about I be
Right.
both?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's so much thing that you got to be open to. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you said, it don't always happen the way you might want it to.
Right. And that's the beauty, I think, of life. It's like it rips things back to the importance of what matters, and that's character, value, right? Your beliefs.
Facts.
Our imagination is so powerful. I imagined this podcast before it was even tangible.
For sure.
And look, you're here sitting, flew in from Atlanta, and we're having a conversation from an imagination that I had. You know what I mean? Like when I recognize those things, that's why I tell people, yo, it's so powerful. Don't play yourself. Your imagination is powerful. It is the most powerful thing that you have.
Definitely.
And when you can see it and you could believe it and then you can feel it, right? Like there's a difference between believing what you say and just saying some stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes people
that's a fact.
it's just a
Throw
bunch,
stuff out
right?
there,
Just But when you really feel what you say and you mean what you say, man, it is powerful when you put action behind it.
And you got to be a little bit crazy enough to believe in yourself. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
If no one believes in what you believe in and you the only person that believe it, you got to be a little crazy.
Right.
You know, you got to be like, man, listen, ain't nobody going to believe me when I say what I'm about to do, but until it's done, then it ain't crazy.
Then they going to believe you.
Then they going to believe
Right.
you. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some type of confidence in you. You got to be a little bit off the hinges to be like, listen, I'm finna go for this. Whether somebody don't believe it or they do, I know it's finna happen.
Right. And I want to take this opportunity because I feel like you're provoking me to just even say this, man. I want to say right now, like even this podcast, like, and this is on record, that I promise you that this podcast will become one of the biggest podcasts.
For sure.
That there's going to be so many people on this podcast that you would have never known that I'm going to push through. Like, see, a lot of things, people, they just are, you know, somebody just doing something.
Right.
Nah, I'm consistent.
No, for sure.
And consistency is key. We launched November 1st. We already have over 20 podcasts filmed and recorded before launch. You see what I'm saying? And every single week throughout the rest of the year, we have booked. You know what I'm saying? Like all our things, and we're going to continue because truthfully, yeah, now I'm, you know, talking like this is a sport because I am trying to get that championship ring. I'm not going to lie to you.
For sure.
But what I truly want and the desires that are behind why I'm doing this is because I want to impact people. And so for me to subject the fact that I should stop this podcast is a selfish thing, because I know that our conversations and the conversations that I have with people on here are created for others and not for myself. And I take me out of the equation, then I'm going to win no matter what. Right? It's the moment that I get into this place of self where it's all about me, then I'm going to lose, because anything and everything we do in life should always be for people. Your talents aren't for you.
Right.
Your talents are for people. And that's the thing. And the reason why I know I'm going to win, because of what this is rooted in, you know, and don't get me wrong. Like people, they might have that mindset and they recognize. And one of the things you'll recognize real quick, and I've recognized even with this, is even your closest friends won't support you.
Man, bro, that's what I'm saying.
And at the same time, I'm not threatened by that or hurt by that. I recognize that is, for whatever reason, a normal thing, right? Like I get more support from people who don't even know me, that they only know me from social media. And shout out to all you guys. I appreciate you guys. You know, I get the most love from people who are outside my circle than people who are in my circle. And the thing about it is it's not for me to understand simply because if you're in my circle, I'm showing you love. Like, I don't like you're Drake, or, I mean, that might be a bad example, but somebody that like I truly look up to, or that I think is worth it, because I'm going to spend that time and that energy, especially if you're in my circle, to praise you and to celebrate you. Right.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's how I move. But just because that's how I move, I can't assume that that's how people around me will move.
No, you can't think like that. That's
right. And then certain people show support in different ways. That's another thing I've had to recognize, is maybe their support came through a phone call and it made it not look like how you wanted it. Right. Maybe their support came with, hey, that word of encouragement. You know what I mean? Like certain things in certain ways. So for anybody consuming this, I don't want them to think that it's simply like, oh, somebody
gotta do this. Or,
right. Oh, it's got to be social media or just something like that. Right. But I think it's just super important to recognize that when you tie what you do to a greater purpose than yourself, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you're going to continue to go, because you know it's a calling, something you have to do.
No, for sure.
And I know this is for a fact something I have to do, because why would I be doing it?
Right.
I'm not even monetizing this yet. I'm not even getting paid for this yet.
You're just doing it because this is what you want to do.
Like this is what I love to do. I love to have conversations with people, not only for people to be able to consume what we're talking about, but also even for you. Like how many times or how often do you get to be able to truly express what's inside of you?
Right.
This is a growing moment for you.
No, this is
everything that you said out your mouth, you have to then be full from those words, right? Our bellies are full from the fruit of our lips.
That's
what
a
we
fact.
speak on, our bellies get full from. So everything that I've spoken in return, I have to also accept subconsciously and consciously what I'm saying, to the point where it's filling me up.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about conversation, right? Is that's what's happening. So when I've had conversations with people where it's like, man, they get done with these podcasts with me and they're like, man, like
it's refreshing.
Right. And man, you know how fulfilling that is for me personally, to know that I got to be a part of that experience.
It's like the ultimate compliment.
It is literally the ultimate compliment, especially after a podcast. and people being able to say, I love what you're doing because it's helped me out. That's rewarding.
Yeah.
That's gratifying. You know what I'm saying? And I know that was a long rant, but
No,
I just wanted to
needed
take,
to be.
I just, because I was having that conversation today with my team, and I just wanted to just like put that in the ether. I wanted to put that where it's recorded and is going to exist online forever.
It's gonna happen.
You know, so I appreciate that, though,
Man,
bro.
I appreciate
Real
you, bro,
talk,
for
man.
sure.
But yeah, you know, definitely want to tap in and go more into kind of like what you're doing. What can people expect from you, like music wise? I know you said you got a project. You got to obviously figure out some stuff. But like, what? You know, there's a question I did want to ask you before, you know, we wrap up, and it's no pressure. You know, we can converse as long as we need to. But who are some people that you've met that changed your perspective on life? And if you don't want to drop any names, that's cool too.
Oh man, it's definitely some names, and there's some people I've met a couple homeless people that have changed my perspective on life.
I like that.
You know, I've met a couple people that I just had a random conversation with, and we just chopped it up about why they in the position that they in, and you know what I mean. And just like, man, I never thought about it the way that they presented it to me on why they in the position that they in the position. You know, and then like I know a couple millionaires that learn from me just as much as I'm learning from them, you know. And then just the another person is obviously my best friend, Fred. You know what I'm saying? We on this journey together, you know, and we've been learning things right alongside of each other, you know. And that, I think that's one of the main things for sure. That's one of the guys that I talk to like almost every day or every other day, and we bounce ideas off each other because at one point in time, we were young as hell, and we were dreaming about this type of lifestyle. You know what I mean? And whether we knew it was gonna happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to actually be living what you once thought of or what you once dreamed of is a whole totally complete different feeling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We can dream about things all day until you actually doing it. You know what I mean? So that's one person. Like I said, I got my dad is very, very knowledgeable guy. You know, I talk to him about everything as well too. That's one of the guys that I just call and just, you know, let him talk. You know what I'm saying? And I bounce ideas off him as well. My mom, you know, definitely the people that's closest to me. I talk to them more than anybody. And then, like I said, I like to talk to random people, you know, just to kind of get a different perspective. You know what I mean? Because the people closest to you, you know, you had these conversations, which is, you know, is great for you.
Right.
But then somebody that you don't know, you know, that's unbiased, you know what I mean,
Right.
is a good conversation for the soul. You know, I'm one of those guys where I don't care where we at, I'm gonna have a conversation with somebody. My girl, she like, man, everywhere we go, you just talk to somebody. I'm like, listen, people are interesting.
Right.
You know, people are everybody is interesting. From people that's the guys incarcerated, to the millionaires, to the billionaires, to your next door neighbor, to everybody. Right. Everybody is interesting to me.
Right.
You know
Everybody
what I mean?
got a story.
Everybody got a story to tell. You know what I'm saying? Some people may be more weird than others, or whatever the case may be, but that's okay.
Right.
That's who they are.
Right.
You know, so I'm one of those guys where, you know, I'm a people's person.
Right.
I'm very outgoing. I like to, like I said, when we first sat down, I like to meet new people. I like to listen, you know, and take everything for what it's worth.
Right.
You know, I don't hold any expectations on no one, because that's the easiest way to become disappointed. Because when you hold this person to this pedestal, or you got this expectation for this person, they don't meet it, so now you mad. Like, why you mad? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What they say, why you being weird to me? Why you doing that? You know what I'm saying? Why you got this expectation when you shouldn't have had it in the first place? That's why you're disappointed.
Right.
You know, I just take everything for what it's worth, and I go on about my business.
Right. And one thing I tell people all the time is, like, I don't got no expectations from you. And I even say this in relationships, and it could kind of be, it could sound weird, but bear with me when I say it. It's like, I don't have no expectations for you, because the only expectations I have are of myself, right?
For sure.
And I hope and believe that you have expectations for yourself. And as long as we take accountability and have high expectations for ourselves, this is going to be a good relationship.
For sure.
But it's the moment where I have to place expectations. And don't get me wrong, there are certain things that need to be communicated, right?
Definitely.
Communication is important.
It's
but if
key.
you have two people that come together where they have their own expectations that are of high standard, it's a win-win. Because because I have no expectation of you, right? For me, I expect me to love despite what you do. I expect me to serve despite what you do. I expect me to be an upstanding guy despite what you do.
Definitely.
I have these expectations of me.
Yeah.
So if I am of the same value system as you are, and you have expectations that are similar, this is gonna go over well.
It's gonna go real well.
It's gonna go real well. And so it's finding those type of people to be around where you don't gotta question expectations.
No, for
and,
sure.
And mistakes may happen, right? We're still human. Assumptions may happen. You might take something personal. And those are a few different things. I know you were saying you're reading books. Read the 4 agreements if you've not already.
Okay.
One of the first agreements is don't take things personal. That's a whole big one right there.
Don't take things
well,
personal.
actually, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. The second agreement is don't take things personal.
For sure.
And the third agreement is don't assume. And then the fourth agreement is do everything your best, at your best. To always be your best. So
don't take things personal. That's
a
a
big
major
one.
one. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of time people just take things personal. It's like, bro, it ain't even like that. And I ain't gonna sit up here and just act like I'm this perfect guy, because it's a lot of things that's just it's mistaken. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we just got to go back to the drawing board or go back and have this have a conversation. Like, oh, my fault. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I thought you meant this, or I thought you meant that. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you know how many lives could have been saved from a conversation?
Bro.
Like a misunderstanding, people taking things personal. People, when we get to a space where we can actually speak as men, you know, especially men of color,
Definitely.
we're talking about a radical change. You know what I'm saying? Less lives gone, you know, and it's the biggest distance between two people is communication.
Facts. We
And
can
if
build together, bro.
Right.
Like,
It's powerful.
It's very powerful, man. It's so much. It's so many opportunities out here to collab on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then not to even just bring like monetary into it, but just like it's so many ways to become like wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And then you got this guy who don't want to work with this guy for some odd reason. You know what I mean? And just like, come on, bro.
Right. Nah, it's wild like that, man. But, you know, we've been on a podcast, man. It sounds like we might have to have you fly out again, or maybe we'll go to Atlanta.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, bro.
Yeah, well, actually, we are going to be going to Atlanta. Probably the top of next year, maybe this year. We got a special guest for the podcast.
That's super dope.
You know, Miss Nivea.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna jump on the podcast.
That's lit.
So she's an amazing, wonderful person, good friend. But we'll probably be in Atlanta, so when we pop out there, we'll definitely have to hit your line.
Hit me, bro.
And we could definitely do a part 2, man.
Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah,
bro.
man, I appreciate you, bro.
For sure.
You like you said, you've definitely laid out the ability to have an open conversation, and I respect you for that, man. And I hope that, you know, people out there can really pick up what you put down, because it's important and it's vital to life. It's vital to a happy life.
For sure.
Doesn't got to be the most grand life, but a happy life is the best life. You know, being at peace, you can't buy that. So yeah, man, I appreciate that. And before we even jump off, man, is this camera live, Taylor? Yep. Look at this camera right here, and let the people know where they can, you know, connect with you and, you know, plug yourself, all the handles.
Man, listen, you want to know more about me, you want to just see what I do on the daily, you can follow me on any social media platform at Ay Quez. That's AYQUEZ. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to look for me at. Just Ay Quez. Google it. Also, project coming out next couple days. Better late than never on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Got videos out. Just stay tuned, man. I got so much going on. I'm dropping gems. And it's just a day in the life. Like I said, I'm very transparent. So if you want to know more, you want to follow me, just, you know, hit me up. I'm not going to go big on you. I'm not going to ignore you. You know what I'm saying? Just hit me up. I'll reach back, whatever the case may be. But Ay Quez.
No doubt, no doubt. Are we live right here? Not yet. Okay, well, I'm going to look at this camera right here. Well, yeah, guys, definitely tap in and, you know, get plugged with his music. Check out his music videos. All the information will be in the description. And for everybody tuning in, y'all, I appreciate you guys. Listen, at this point, I'm going to need you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel. All the gems we're dropping, all the people we're bringing on the show, we're doing this for you guys, you know, and we definitely want to continue, and I will continue. So do me a favor, like the project or like the video, subscribe. And by the way, if you know anybody that you feel you want to be on the podcast, let me know in the description. Set it in the comments. Or if there are things in here that you felt were really profound to you, go ahead and let us know. Let's have a conversation. And most importantly, if you feel you've really gained something from this, share it with somebody. You know, push it forward. So yeah, for everybody that tuned in, I thank you so much for taking this time. All our supporters, we appreciate you. My team, we work hard day in, day out to make this happen. And until next time, you guys take care. Peace.
For sure.